Today we're going to paint Gadriel's head from the Wardens of Ultramar set. In this set he is an ancient and he does not have a helmet. I'm going to show you today what paints I used, how I used them, and how long it took me exactly to do this. Mind you, this is at 2x speed. I started with a thin layer of Viejo's succubus skin as a base coat. Later I added AK's wine red and mixed it in with the succubus skin. This gave me a good pinkish purple tone for the scars, the lips, cheekbones, inside of the ears, anything that would be redder and or shaded. Here I'm adding in lighter beige red into the Viejo succubus skin, mixing them together to get a shade that's only slightly lighter than the current base coat. I'm using water to thin that and adding it to the parts of the models that I want to be more prominent, showing more light hitting them. Here you're going to see me adding water to my mix and taking my brush from the dark part of the face to the lighter part of the face that I just painted on. This helps blend those two colors together and make the transition less sharp. Here I'm going to add beige red into my previous mix, painting that on top of the highlights that I've already painted. You never want to put this lighter layer into the shadows, only on the highlights that we've already painted. Incrementally, we're going to add lighter and lighter skin tones and repeat this process to make the skin look realistic. I accidentally painted over some of the redness that I wanted in there, so I went back and got my previous mixture and reapplied the redness to the lips and some of the other red areas on the face. Now I separate out the beige red color and thin it, applying it to the highest prominences on the face. Now for this part, you're just going to have to trust me. I am taking the lightest color that I plan to put on the face and mixing it with gray to desaturate it, and my previous mixes of wine red and succubus to get a desaturated purplish gray flesh tone. And I'm going to apply this to just where his beard would grow on his face. This, when applied with like a translucent layer, so like adding water, you can build up something that looks like a 5 o'clock shadow on the faces of characters that you would think might have it. Now I'm going to mix the graphite gray with the previous mix and our basic skin tone to make a lighter 5 o'clock shadow color that I'm going to add to the bony prominences on the face, so like the chin and the side of the jaw. We're going to add some depth to the lip by using succubus skin and wine red to apply another layer, and then adding basic skin tone onto the mixture we just made to make a shine on the bottom lip. Okay, so this is the beginning of my failure with eyes on this paint job. I had to do this probably 3 times and I lost some of the footage. So this is the first time you're going to see me apply this white color to the eyes. Some of it cuts out, but just know this is not the last time we do this in this video. This is not going to be satisfactory, and we're going to have to do it like 2 more times. So this clipped out, so you're not actually going to see this part, but I have to flip the handle upside down to paint the eye on the opposite side of my dominant hand. That's the only way I know to do it and be able to maintain the brush control. Afterwards, we're going to add our lightest color, which is our basic skin tone, to the beige red, and mix the two together to get a slightly lighter shade than what we already had on the model, and apply it to the highlights. Now, I left a lot of this in here to show you guys that I've painted so many heads. I'm pretty good at it, and I still manage to mess up almost every time I do it. So you can see here that I'm trying to apply pupils with this rubber black color. It's not going to go super well. Somewhere in this time I lost where the actual left eye was on the model, or I guess it's the model's right eye, but our left looking at it, and it just never ends up lining up exactly the way that I want it to. So you're going to see a lot of revision here. It's okay to have to redo things. I reapplied my silver gray color to erase the terrible pupils I just made and switched over to painting the base coat for the hair while that dried. I find it's necessary at times, if you make some mistakes while you're painting the highlights, to go back in and redefine the recesses of the face with darker colors. So I'm applying that darker color base that we had to just inside of the eye, on the sides of the nose, underneath the eyebrow, to help shade in that part and differentiate where the eye starts and the skin ends. This is going to be another try at the pupils with rubber black. Now, the eyes are so small on these models, it's best to assume you're going to miss your mark and have to close them in later. So if you paint down onto the cheek when you're trying to paint a pupil, that's fine. We'll just go grab our highlight and then put it right where that lower eyelid is and make the eye look defined that way, so it doesn't look like you painted outside of where you were supposed to. Now I'm just going in and adding more highlights like we've done the whole time. You've been seeing me add more and more of that basic skin tone to the previous mixture and apply on top of our highlights. This is how you make a gradient of like dark to light colors on the face. Even if you didn't blend these, you have to keep in mind that these models are so small that looking at it on a table, if you're just here to play with some Warhammer 40k, it's gonna look great even if you don't blend these. At this point in time, when I'm looking at this model, it's still not looking right, so I'm trying to fix the eyes still at this point in time. Now I'm going to mix black and gray to make stubble and sideburns on the side of his face where that 5 o'clock shadow is merging in with his actual hairline. Here I'm going to be adding some basic skin tone to make an even lighter color to apply to the 5 o'clock shadow area. So the fronts of his face and the side of his jaw where his jaw muscles are. It's important when doing eyebrows to make sure that the color that you're using, or the paint, whatever color it is diluted enough that it comes off the end of your brush without you having to push very hard. Otherwise, you're going to end up with blobs. Now I'm going through and coloring his hair. I'm just mixing in some brown color that I had on hand to make some very quick highlights on his hair. Here we're finishing up with the armor. I'm adding the rubber black onto the like suit, the black carapace on the bottom of his neck, and I'm also going to do some ultramarine blue for the actual metal parts because they typically match the armor. I'm calling it done here. While it's not a Golden Demon entry, this is a perfectly good looking Gadriel head for your 40k army. I hope you liked the tutorial. I do have to apologize to you guys. I noticed while editing this video that Gadriel has tubes in one half of his head and, you know, no hair there. So I totally neglected that on the model, and I don't know how I missed it, but so sorry for that. I hope the rest of the painting was helpful to you, even if I didn't get to the tubes and, you know, his stubble on the side of his head. Okay, thanks for watching. Sorry, bye.